replace the spark plugs in my Lexus GS300h. It's a 2014 model. That's the GS300h fourth variant or fourth version, whatever. It's got the 2arfse 4-cylinder 2.5-liter engine from Toyota. So let's see how to do it. It's super simple to do it as at home, as a DIY. These are the equipments or the tools that we need for today's job. So here we have 4 new spark plugs from Denso. I will leave the part number and the links where we can find them in the description. And here I have an adapter that is from half inch to 3x8 inch, and I will explain you why we need this. And then we have the 10mm socket and a half-inch extension rod. It's optional. Then I have a spark plug socket which has got a magnetic pickup tool, so this can also help to pick up and drop the spark plug back when we replace them. So this is quite handy. I would recommend to get one of these. And this is a 16mm. In the spark plugs it's mentioned as 14. I don't know why, but then the correct one is 16. So any 16mm spark plug wrench would do the job. And this one is a 90mm length, but even 50mm or 100mm, whatever the length is, should be suitable. And then this is a ratchet, 1x4 inch. And then I have a screwdriver. Any flathead screwdriver would do the job to remove the connectors. Then finally I have a torque wrench, and this can torque from 3 Newton meters to 25 Newton meters, and the spark plug torque rating is 22 Newton meters. So that's why we need to remove the beauty cover. I already have removed it. It's got 3 points where it's attached. Just pull them up, it will come off. And this engine is placed longitudinally, that is, it goes in this direction, not in this direction like in front wheel drive cars, because this GS300h is a rear wheel driven car. And you can see we have 1, 2, 3 and 4 connectors. So that means these are the 4 spark plugs that we need to replace today. And this is a little bit special or tricky than the other models or the 2arfse engine, because it's got this cable housing or this connector on top of it. So for the third spark plug or for the second from this side, to access it we need to remove this. So at first we are going to remove these 5 bolts, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then we're just gonna take the housing up. Okay, for this we use the 10mm socket, a ratchet and an extension. So let's try to break them loose first. Now let's go ahead and remove the connectors. So to remove the connectors, use a flathead screwdriver and press it in the bottom and gently squeeze it from here underneath, and it should be able to come off without much struggle. Be careful because these clips may break sometimes, and then wiggle it to the left, to the right, and they will come off. this should have enough clearance to remove the ignition coil and put it back, and to take out the spark plug and replace it. So you don't need to disconnect the housing. So then we have to remove these screws on top of the ignition coil, and these are also 10 millimeters. So let's go ahead and remove the first one. I'm gonna break this loose. One, and repeat the same for all 4. Now we should just remove all the ignition coils. Just gently wobble them, they will come off. Please note that this seal has to stay on the ignition coil. If you see this seal sticking on the engine cylinder head, please take it out and put it back on the coil, because this one prevents any dust or water particles from entering into the spark plug holes, because they are basically the same ignition coil. So even if you mix and match, they would work just normally fine, so no problem. Before you go on removing the spark plugs, just try to inspect it from outside. There should be no leakage of oil or no dust or something like that. It should look dry and clean. So this one is okay. Let's check the second one. It is okay. Looks good. Looks okay. We used the spark plug socket, then the adapter, and I use a 1x4 inch wrench and an extension cord. You can use a 3x8 inch wrench and use a different adapter. So it's so simple. This is 1x4 inch and this one is 1x4 inch. So, but this socket is 3x8 inches. So this adapter basically converts from 1x4 to 3x8. Here's the spark plug, the first one. It has a whitish gray color. Maybe now we can see it a little bit clearly. So this means it's good. It's dry and white. There is no leakage or something like that. So this is the stock spark plugs. Now my car has reached 96,000 kilometers or 60,000 miles. It's not bad, I would say, for this mileage. It's still in pretty good shape. And now we are going to repeat the same procedure to remove the other 3 spark plugs. You can cut it. Here are the old 4 spark plugs. They are not bad for their age. They have done 60,000 miles, which is recommended for the 2arfse engines. They are still in a pretty good condition, but I always prefer to follow the manufacturer's recommendations and go ahead and change it so that I won't have bigger problems in the future. And I've got the same plugs from Denso. I'll leave the part numbers in the description and some links where you can find them. So I always recommend either go with the Denso spark plugs, but even if you buy it from an authorized Toyota dealership, you will have the same spark plugs inside the box from a Toyota. So it's the same company which manufactures for all Toyotas or Lexus brand vehicles. So this is how it looks when it comes from the box. Please remember, this washer is quite important. Don't lose it. Just grab the spark plug with the socket together like this. The socket is pretty good. It's very well magnetized, so it holds it real strong, and you just drop it in real slow, like this, and just hand tight it initially. You don't need to tighten it completely, just do it with your hand. And once the spark plug is already threaded a couple of times, then you can remove the socket out. Then repeat the same procedure for the other 3 spark plugs. And then we can go ahead with the torque. Okay, just a tip, please remember these spark plugs from Denso or Toyota are pre-gapped, so you don't need to do any gap checks or something like this. Just take them out of the box and directly install them into your engines. And I've tightened all 4 spark plugs with my hand, so now I'm going to use the ratchet to tighten it basic, or to the, to an approximate level. Then finally I'm gonna use the torque wrench to torque it to 22 Newton meters. So please remember to torque the spark plugs to the right spec, because if you do it manually, you may end up torquing it more than 22 Newton meters. In that case, you may have a seizure when you try to replace it the next time, or if you tighten it too less, you may have more troubles with the engine losing power and fuel efficiency coming down and so on. So always remember to torque the spark plugs to the recommended specification. It's very important. Here's my torque wrench, and this can handle a torque spec between 3 Newton meters to 25 Newton meters, and I'm gonna set 22 Newton meter. So here we see Newton meter, and we see the readings on both sides. It's got all odd number readings and smaller readings in the dial. So first pull this down to get the spec. So now we need 22, that means I'm going to 21. So this is 21. Now I need 1 Newton meter more. That means I'm gonna stop exactly right there and lock it. That's it, now it's locked. So if I tighten the spark plug now, it will exactly give 22 Newton meters of torque. This is how we should do the torque setting for the torque. There we go. So now we've got 22 Newton meters of torque, and we repeat the same for the other 4 spark plugs. Take your time, do it easy and slow. Don't rush into this procedure. Do not do it manually. It's never good for the engine in the long run. Always follow the manufacturer's recommendation. That's the best way we can get a long life out of these cars. Lexus cars in general are super reliable, and if you maintain it in the right way, they take care of us. There we go. 22 Newton meters. Now it's time to put all the ignition coils back. just in the same order how I took it out. You can replace them, it's no big deal. So just put them on, put the screws back, and we do with the connectors. So now I'm tightening all the ignition coil screws. Don't over tighten them. These are plastic coil heads, just hand tight should do the job. Sorry, I don't know the exact torque specification for this, but I believe somewhere not too tight, not too loose should do the job. That's about it. Yeah.
Last one.
Now we just have to connect the plugs, the cables, and these connectors are very well designed. We can see the first one starts in black, second one goes in gray, and black and gray. So all the Toyota Lexus engines have this similar design, so we won't end up connecting them in a wrong way. And also the connectors are only designed in certain length that it will reach the exact ignition coil, not the other one. So we can put this cable housing back again in its place. Just lift it up in the right way. Make sure all 5 screws are inside, then it should be okay. Be gentle with it, so breaking this will make more problems, so try not to, and be easy with the connectors. Just push it in easy, nice and slow, until you hear the click, 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 click. And then now we are gonna put the screws on for the Also for these screws, I'm not really sure about the torque spec, so I just tighten these with hands. And anyway, it just is for the housing, so just don't over tighten them and don't leave them too loose, and that should do the job good. So should be good enough, and 2 more to go. Good enough. Okay, start the engine, try to let it run for a minute or 2, check if it sounds good, if the idling RPM is correct, and then that's it, we are done. So I wish everybody can do this simple procedure at home. It's an easy to do DIY procedure. So thank you for watching, have a good one, cheers. Here you can see the tachometer shows the idling speed of close to 1100 RPM. So that means it's running fine. I'm gonna take the car for a spin, and thanks for watching. Cheers.